On a hot day in May 1857, Indian sepoys in Meerut refused to use the new Enfield rifle cartridges, which were rumored to be greased with cow and pig fat, something offensive to both Hindus and Muslims. When 85 of them were punished and jailed, their fellow sepoys broke into the prison, freed them, and began a march to Delhi. This small act of rebellion became the spark that lit a much bigger fire across northern India. What sparked the uprising? The British East India Company had ruled large parts of India for over 100 years. Their policies made many people angry. Kings who had no real son were forced to give up their kingdoms under a law called the Doctrine of Lapse. Farmers lost their lands. Workers lost their jobs because British goods replaced Indian handmade items. People also feared that their religion was under threat. Christian missionaries were spreading fast, and the British officers often disrespected Indian customs. Indian soldiers, called sepoys, were treated badly in the British Army. They were paid less than British soldiers and had fewer rights. The new rifle cartridges felt like an attack on their faith. Many saw it as proof that the British wanted to destroy Indian religion and culture. After freeing the jailed soldiers in Meerut, the sepoys marched to Delhi. There, they went to the Red Fort and met the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar. He was old and had no real power, but the rebels declared him their leader. His name reminded people of a time when India ruled itself. Zafar became the symbol of their fight. Soon, the revolt spread across many cities like Kanpur, Jhansi, Lucknow, and Bareilly. In each place, brave leaders stepped up. Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi fought with a sword in hand. Nana Sahib led the uprising in Kanpur. Begum Hazrat Mahal fought in Lucknow. Tancha Tope became a skilled commander. The movement brought together people from different classes and backgrounds. At first, the British were shocked, but they soon gathered their army and took help from other parts of India. They returned with full force. Villages were burned, thousands were killed, rebels were captured and executed without trial. In September 1857, British troops entered Delhi again. Bahadur Shah Zafar was captured. His sons were killed by a British officer named Major William Hodson. Zafar was later put on trial and sent far away to Rangoon, now Yangon in Myanmar, where he lived in exile and died in 1862. The revolt failed, but the British knew they could no longer rule India the same way. The British government in London removed the East India Company and took direct control. Queen Victoria was declared the Empress of India. British officers promised they would no longer interfere with religion and local customs. But at the same time, they started a new strategy called divide and rule. They created differences between Hindus and Muslims, and between castes and regions. This made it harder for Indians to unite again like they did in 1857. How did the British come to India? The British didn't come as rulers. They came as traders. In 1600, Queen Elizabeth I gave permission to a group of businessmen to trade in India. This group became the East India Company. They set up offices in cities like Surat, Madras, Calcutta, and Bombay. But slowly, they started building forts and their own army. In 1757, they fought the Battle of Plassey against the Nawab of Bengal, Suraj-ud-Dowla. The British won the battle because a commander named Mir Jafar betrayed his own leader. After that, the company gained control of Bengal and began expanding across India. The Revolt of 1857 was not just about cartridges. It was about people who had suffered for years and finally decided to rise up. The rebellion failed, but it showed that Indians were not ready to stay silent under foreign rule. Brave people like Rani Lakshmibai, Bahadur Shah Zafar, and many others fought for something bigger than themselves. This revolt did not free India, but it shook the British. It was the first time people from different parts of the country fought together. And even though the British stayed in power, the fire of resistance had begun, and it would never be put out again.